So what are the diminishing returns of hustling and grinding for entrepreneurs? Find out now on the Unlock Success Podcast.
This is the Unlock Success Podcast. We're helping entrepreneurs around the world dive deep into the keys you need to shatter excuses, believe in yourself, and help you achieve your highest goals. Here's your host, 8-figure entrepreneur and the living legend of internet marketing, Anthony Morrison.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Anthony Morrison here, and welcome to a new episode of the Unlock Success Podcast, where I talk to you about all things business and entrepreneurial related. And of course, this is just my unfiltered opinion on how you can take your business or entrepreneurship to the next level. And today on the episode, we're going to talk about the diminishing returns of hustling in entrepreneurship. Now, look, I'll bet you in the next few minutes, I could find 10 hours worth of content telling you about the importance of hustling, grinding, working late, putting in the hours to make your dreams come true, all of this stuff. But I would be hard pressed to find 5 minutes of content that actually tells you what you should be doing. Think about that, right? Now, I know a lot of it is just harmless motivation, so I don't want you to think I'm here to tell you to never watch one of those videos again and that they're all a waste of time. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a danger to these videos, you know? These videos, they have a pretty massive misunderstanding of what entrepreneurship really is and what actually moves the needle in your business. And if you're not careful, this misunderstanding can destroy your productivity and your business in general. I call it the diminishing returns of hustling. And here's what I mean. We've all heard of diminishing returns. Just because something starts out with a good return doesn't mean it always stays that way. You may have seen this if you've ever run ads on Facebook or YouTube, right? Even if you begin profitably, as you increase your budget, you might find that your return on your ad spend gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Or let's say you're hiring a team, right? At first, hiring people is profitable because more work is getting done. But at a certain point, simply hiring more people costs more money than they'll be able to bring in. Well, the same is true in this whole hustle culture, right? Hustling or working those long hours may start off being profitable, but eventually the return you get for those late nights and the time away from your family gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, why is this? It's simply because at a certain level, working more does not always mean working better. In fact, some of the most profitable things you can do in your business don't always require you to be there at all hours of the day. Some of my best ads on YouTube run while I'm sleeping, right? Sure, I put a lot of work into creating them, but if I believed the lie that I always have to be hustling or grinding, I'd end up working way more than I needed to. And not only that, but the quality of the work would suffer. Look, I can promise you, I have never made a winning video after I was dead tired, overworked, and just wanted to go home, right? Maybe someday it'll happen, but I'm certainly not counting on it. What good is 10 hours worth of YouTube ad content if all of it's just garbage after I record it, right? So now under this hustling mindset, I'm working more hours than I need to, and then the quality of my work isn't even that good. So how do we fix this? Look, here's the thing. We get around this by completely flipping the script. We turn this mentality on its head, right? Instead of forcing yourself to work longer hours, force yourself to work less. Think about it. Instead of saying you're going to go 24 hours nonstop and hustle and grind, tell yourself you only have 2 hours to get this or that task done. There's a simple concept in the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, which basically states that you'll take however long you have to take to get the job done. So if you have 8 hours to get your work done, you're probably going to take all 8 hours to get it done, even if you could have knocked it out in 2 hours. So only give yourself a limited amount of time. Whether you need to write your emails for the week or schedule your social media post or work on your funnel or meet with clients, whatever it is. Look, work on ways that you can limit the amount of time you have to do these tasks and then give yourself the freedom to do whatever else you want for the rest of the day. You'll find that your productivity will skyrocket far faster than hustling, grinding, and whatever else you want to call it. You know, when I first started, I had to hustle. I had to grind. I had to work all the time because I was, honestly, I didn't have any free hours at all. I was going to school for, I think I had, in college, you know, they tell you how many hours you take in a month, right? Or in a semester. I was taking 21 or 24. I had to get dean's approval for it. I think the most you really usually take is 16 or 18. I had to get the written approval and signatures to take 21, 24 hours, something like that. So I was in school all the time, right? Labs, all these types of things. Then I had study groups. I was going to medical school. That was my goal. So I had all of these extracurricular things I had to do for medical school, pre-admissions, all this stuff. And so the only time I had to work on my business was honestly about 9 o'clock at night till 3 or 4 in the morning. And that's when I worked, right? I would take a nap, a very short one, and I'd be up at 7 o'clock the next morning and off to school and all the other things that I have to do. And so while I look at that and I say, okay, that was a necessity, that was something I had to do, I think it's important to make that differentiation. Like, that's me hustling. That's me making something happen. That's me creating more hours in the day than really I had, right, to get things done. I did that because it was necessary, not because the culture told me I needed to hustle all day, right? So it depends on kind of what boat you're in. If the only way that you can work on your business and build something new for yourself is to create some time at night to be able to work on it because you've got other things throughout the day that you are committed to and have to do, that's great. That's fine. Like, I have no problem with that. But if you're the entrepreneur that doesn't have anything else going on, you're not in school, you don't have another job or anything like that, you just have your business, and you've gotten caught up in this whole mentality that you need to wake up and start working the minute your eyes open, and you need to go until the minute you can't hold your eyes open anymore, it really does give you diminishing returns, because you'll see that the quality of the things that you do just isn't up to par. And now with competition the way that it is online, I mean, look, 10 years ago, the competition was nowhere near what it is today, right? In business, especially online businesses. And so you could get away with, 60% effort into things and it probably would still work for you. But now we're talking about anybody and everybody. 14-year-old kids are starting online businesses. You've got a lot of competition. So now you've got to put quality over quantity. And I think that's the most important thing to understand here, is that when you get wrapped up in this hustle, grind, mentality, you sacrifice quality. And if you sacrifice that quality, it's almost like this cyclical thing that never stops. If you sacrifice quality, then your production is never going to be that great, right? You're never going to be operating at peak performance, which means you're always going to have to keep grinding, right, to stay above board, to keep your head above the water. Whereas if you stop grinding, right, just stop it, just don't do it anymore, and you focus on putting out really good quality, awesome stuff, right, then all of a sudden you operate at a peak efficiency, right, peak performance. Your head's way above the water. Now you don't have to grind anymore. You can coast. And I'll give you a prime example. It all starts with ads. So for me, people say grind, film 150 ads, stay up all night, do all this stuff. I don't do that anymore, but I used to. So what I used to do is film 50 ads in 1 week. When we would film, I would just sit down and film, and I wouldn't even know what I was filming anymore by the time I was done. I was just filming to film, right? And here's what would happen. None of those ads ever really performed at a high level. Some would work marginally, a lot of them failed, but the ones that worked marginally would get us by. We could run an ad for a couple of days, then we'd switch when it would die out, and we'd run another ad for a couple of days, and by the time the week was over, well, it was time to grind again. I needed to film more because I've run out of all of the ads that would work. And I finally got tired of that, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to film 1 or 2 really good ads each week when we film, and we usually film every other week, and I'm going to let those ads speak for themselves. And that's what I did. And I have ads that have currently been running now for 6, 8, 9 months, and they're operating at a much higher level of performance, right? Peak performance. And so what happens is when you put the time and energy into quality, you do so much above board, right, that your coasting time for something like that to, like say for an ad to start to diminish, right, is so much greater. You don't have to grind all day, right? So hopefully in listening to this, what you find is that quality matters, quantity doesn't. It doesn't matter how many videos you put on your YouTube channel. It matters what the quality of each of those videos are. It doesn't matter how many ads you run. It matters what the quality of those ads are. It doesn't matter how many people you hire for your company. It matters the quality of the people that you hire. All of these things matter. So it doesn't matter how many hours you grind. It matters how many quality hours you put into your business. I guarantee you, if you'll start to shift your focus into really maximizing quality time when you're putting that time into your business, you're going to see much better return on your time. Your business is going to scale at a much greater level, and you're going to get back some of your freedom, right? And not have to grind each and every day. So hopefully this has given you some the permission, if you will, in this hustle, grind, crazy society that we live in, permission to not hustle, to not grind, but to put quality time into everything that you do and help your business grow. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast, and I look forward to seeing you next week, next Thursday, on the next edition of the Unlock Success Podcast.